The cruel owner had abandoned this dog for many years. Perhaps all this time it had survived on scraps and leaves, its matted, tangled fur a testament to the neglect it had endured. Each day it drifted like a ghost along the side of the road, wandering around the garbage dump, aimlessly searching for anything to sustain it. When we approached, it didn't show any sign of fear. Perhaps there was nothing left in its life more terrifying than what it had already experienced, so it remained eerily calm, unfazed by everything around it. We decided to bring it back to the center and make a plan for its care. The first step was to have our specialists carefully trim away the matted, tangled fur. It was the first act of kindness it had known in so long, a small but crucial step toward giving it a new life. Stay until the end of the video to see the dog's new look. Don't forget to give us a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. We truly appreciate your support. Thank you so much. As the specialist began the first steps of care, we were all taken aback by how the dog remained eerily calm, almost obedient in a way we had never seen before. It was a quiet submission, an acceptance of the gentle touch, something we rarely witnessed in dogs who had been starved of love and kindness for so many years. Its eyes, once filled with fear and mistrust, now looked up at us, not with panic, but with a subtle curiosity, as if it was finally starting to understand that this was not the cruelty it had known. The way it sat so still, allowing the clippers to trim away the heavy matted fur, was almost surreal. We had expected resistance, hesitation, or even fear, but instead there was only stillness, as if it had finally surrendered to the comfort of safety and care. In that moment, we realized just how deeply its spirit had been broken. For years, this dog had known nothing but neglect and loneliness. And yet, despite everything, it still held on to a flicker of trust, a spark of hope. It seemed as though it had waited for this moment, waited for someone to see beyond the dirt and the scars, to look into its soul and offer it a second chance. As the fur was slowly shaved away, revealing the frail, scarred body beneath, it was hard not to feel a deep sense of sorrow. But there was something else too, something more powerful. It was the realization that healing had already begun. The dog might not yet understand what was happening, but we did. Each snip of the clippers, each touch of our hands was a promise that from this day forward it would never be forgotten again, never be left to suffer in silence. After a meticulous amount of time, a portion of the ugly, matted fur was finally shaved away, and now, perhaps the most delicate part remained, the trimming of the fur around the dog's face. This area was filled with small details, such as its ears and eyes, requiring the specialist to be extra careful, moving with the utmost precision to avoid causing any harm to the fragile creature. As the clippers gently worked around the dog's face, we all held our breath, knowing that this moment, so intimate, so vulnerable, was more than just a grooming session. It was a symbol of healing, of trust slowly being restored, one careful snip at a time. The dog sat still, its once anxious eyes now softer, as though it could sense the love and care being given to it, the tenderness in each touch. And with every stroke, we could almost see the layers of pain being lifted, replaced by a quiet calm that filled the room. After much effort, the most sensitive and vulnerable areas had been carefully tended to. Only the belly and legs remained, the last parts of the dog's body still covered in its matted, neglected fur. Despite being a dog abandoned and deprived of love for so many years, we had never experienced such a peaceful atmosphere during the entire process. There was no need for any restraint or forceful measures. The dog stood still, quietly allowing the gentle care, its body relaxed, almost as if it was savoring the kindness for the first time. It was as though, in that moment, it knew that no harm would come to it, that it could finally rest in the hands of those who cared. The room was filled with a profound silence, a shared understanding that this was more than just grooming. It was healing, it was redemption, and most of all, it was love. Are you still here? It won't be long before we witness the incredible transformation. Show your love by giving us a thumbs up and subscribing to our channel. We'll be updating with new videos regularly. Thank you so much for your support. Everything seemed to be going smoothly, but when we reached the legs and belly, we encountered a bit of difficulty. The fur in these areas was thick, matted, and caked with dirt and mud, making it a challenge for our equipment. After several attempts and switching tools, we finally managed to remove the heavy, tangled fur from the dog's body. It was a laborious process, but with each painstaking snip, we could see the dog becoming lighter, freer. Despite the struggle, the dog remained calm, its trust in us unwavering. It was as though it understood that this was the last hurdle, the final step to shedding the weight of its past. And when the last knot was undone, we looked at the dog, now revealed in its true form, and felt a sense of triumph and tenderness. This was more than just grooming. It was the beginning of its rebirth. Now the specialist began to bathe the dog. This was probably the most soothing and comforting part of the process for it. The warm water cascaded gently over its body, the soothing stream washing away the years of neglect. The dog was lathered with a special gentle shampoo, each stroke of the brush a tender massage. The specialist took their time, massaging its skin, carefully scrubbing away the layers of dirt and grime that had clung to it for so long. It was as if the dog could finally breathe, finally feel the relief of being cleansed, body and soul. The gentle scrubbing seemed to ease away the discomforts it had carried for years, replacing them with a sense of calm it had never known. With each touch, the dog grew more relaxed, its once tense muscles loosening, its spirit starting to lift. It was not just a bath, it was a moment of true renewal, a quiet healing that allowed the dog to feel loved and cared for in a way it had never felt before. During the bath, the specialist discovered some harmful parasites on its body and immediately took action to remove them. As each parasite was carefully eliminated, the dog seemed to relax, almost as if it wanted to thank us for the relief. Once the parasites were gone, the process of drying the dog continued. It was gently patted down with soft, specialized towels, and then the warmth of a dryer followed, enveloping its body in comforting heat. The dog, now clean and free from the burdens it had carried for so long, looked up with a curious glint in its eyes. It seemed to revel in the sensation, fascinated by the new experience. For the first time in its life, it was no longer burdened by discomfort. Instead, it was wrapped in warmth, tenderness, and care, a transformation not just of its body, but of its spirit. The dog's contentment was palpable, a silent but powerful expression of gratitude and newfound joy. Once everything was done and the fur was clean and dry, we began the final touches. The dog was gently trimmed once more, the matted fur that remained carefully shaved away. We paid extra attention to its ears and eyes, delicately cleaning and grooming those sensitive areas. It was a moment of pure care, ensuring that every part of the dog's body was treated with the kindness it had long been deprived of. We also tended to its nails, carefully trimming them to give it comfort and freedom of movement. As we worked, the dog remained still, trusting, allowing us to take care of the details that would make it feel whole again. There was a quiet grace in the way it accepted each gentle touch, as if it knew this was the final step in its transformation, a complete renewal. And when we finished, the dog looked up at us, its eyes bright with something new: peace. It was no longer the same creature it had been at the start of this journey. It was now clean, cared for, and free. After a period of dedicated work, we've helped the dog return to its true self, and here is the result. If you love what we do and the way we care for animals, be sure to subscribe to our channel. We'll be posting more amazing videos like this one regularly. Thank you so much for your support, and we look forward to seeing you in our next video. Don't forget to leave a comment so we can know you're out there. See you soon. Once everything was completed, with the fur clean and dry, we did a final trim and took extra care with delicate areas like its ears and eyes. We also made sure to groom its paws, trimming the nails carefully.